Heyo, welcome to the Quniverse. I'm your host Q, and welcome to Zero to Dread. So in this mini-series, I'll be covering each 2D Metroid game, from the very original on NES, all the way to Dread on Switch. I'll most likely do another series tackling the 3D games, but we'll get there when we get there. So today, we're going back to where it all began, Metroid on the NES. So, most of you know this song and dance number, but for the three of you who don't, let me put you all on game real quick. Entirely off screen, and according to the manual, a Galactic Federation-owned research vessel are attacked by space pirates and the creatures known as Metroids, the predatory life forms discovered on planet SR-388, were stolen. All of this is so the space pirates can try to replicate Metroids by exposing them to beta rays, and then using them as biological weapons to destroy all living beings that oppose them. The game takes place on planet Zebes, and you play as the bounty hunter, Samus Aran. Your job is to traverse through multiple locations, defeat space pirates like Kraid, the space pirates commander Ridley, and finally kill Mother Brain, the true leader of the space pirates, to then escape the blown up planet. Not much else to say on that. There's a few things I missed on explaining this, but I'll cover them as best I can within time. The game was heavily inspired by the 1979 sci-fi horror movie Alien. I just saw this movie recently for the first time, and yeah, it shows. Whether it's the aspect of being alone on a space planet fighting to survive, or the designs of the basic enemies, I could go on and on about this. The biggest similarity is definitely a strong female protagonist, since back then it was super rare. Samus Aran was definitely inspired by Ellen Ripley, that much is certain. But I've gone on long enough, I know what you're all here for, the gameplay. Starting things out, we get this iconic startup theme. But before I continue, I really gotta ask, what the hell is this? I mean, damn, I get you start off with no energy tanks, that much is normal, but 30 energy is brutal. Okay, so I know it's a bit soon, but this game is difficult, especially in the early game. With only 30 HP and enemies doing massive damage without the Various suit, you will die towards the beginning, especially if it's your first time playing. No joke, I died in less than 2 minutes of starting this game due to the low life counter. If you die, you gotta start at the very top of the floor, in this case, the very beginning. Thankfully though, you get to keep all your power-ups if you grabbed any. Long beam, missiles, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, when you do die though, you start back at only 30 HP, even if you grabbed energy tanks. This comes back to bite us, but I promise you, it's way worse later on. Especially in later areas where if you die anywhere, including bosses, your ass is starting all the way back at the top of the area. So, good luck with that. So, on the Famicom version, you actually get to save, but on the US copy? Yeah, you better get real comfortable with using these long passwords, or using save states. In this game there are 5 areas: Brinstar, Norfair, Kraid's Lair, Ridley's Lair, and Tourian. You start off in Brinstar and traverse your way to Norfair while collecting things like the Morph Ball, Long Beam, missiles, bombs, and the Various suit, if you sequence break on the Various suit that is. I'll touch on that in just a bit. So starting things off, the Morph Ball. The Morph Ball is a staple to this franchise and you get it within the first few seconds of the game. When used, Samus curls up into a ball and is able to traverse through tightly spaced areas. Not much else to say on that. It's simple, but iconic. Missiles are stronger attacks that are mostly used for boss fights and are essential to breaking red doors. You have to use 5 missiles to break these doors down, and most of the time these doors lead to some type of new power-up or hidden passages, so always keep missiles on you at all times. Bombs are used to find hidden paths behind walls, floors, and ceilings. In this title, the textures all look very similar, so it's really hard to tell if something is breakable, but trust me, that comes with the excitement for exploring something new. The Long Beam is not too exciting, but it's essential. All it does is make your regular beam shots travel a lot further. The power-ups do shine a lot with how well it shows you getting stronger. Seriously, the enemies that made you their punching bag over time start to become an actual joke. Though in this title, there are 8 energy tanks, but not really. Let me explain. Energy tanks give you an extra bar of health when you pick up one, right? That much hasn't changed since ever. But in this title, your health bar caps at 6 bars, meaning each E-tank after 6 doesn't give you more health, but instead just replenishes your current health to max, which is still nice and all, but damn, I really wonder why they capped the player at 6 bars. It's really weird, but just something to point out. There's one more thing I gotta bring up before we continue. Unlike future installments, this game has no map. It came out in a time when guides were huge, and it's not likely you have those guides. So nowadays, you could draw the map as you go, or you could do what I did and just look up a map. Link in the description below for the map I used. Honestly, if you don't like me for looking up a map, fight me. I got great stats. But for real, if you don't use a map, it's very easy to get lost in this game since each room looks very similar to the last. But if you enjoy that aspect of being lost, go for it. More power to you. But it's entirely up to you. Don't let anyone shame you for using a map. This game is unfair, so you gotta take your advantages when you can. Just keep that in mind is all. So the last thing before I push forward, you definitely should try to sequence break into this room and get the various suit before heading to Norfair. I didn't do it on my run, which I regret, but I'd recommend it since it reduces the damage you take by 50%. All you need are missiles and bombs, which at this point you already have access to. You can come back to this room later, but I'm being deadass when I say this, your run will be a lot tougher if you don't grab this right now. Sequence breaking has always been infamous in the Metroid series, and this title is no different whatsoever. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward a bit since I've been dragging on. Once you find all the power-ups you need and acquire some missiles on the way as well, you can finally navigate to the elevator located here and head on down to Norfair. The enemies are a lot tougher, but at this point you should have somewhat of a decent grasp on traversing. There's a lot more lava down here, so be really sure to practice precision platforming. Down here, you grab the ice beam, wave beam, high jump boots, and screw attack. The ice beam freezes enemies in place, which can be really good for better platforming and makes them a lot easier to kill. Though if you have the wave beam at this point, the beam will be replaced with this one. You can always re-grab the wave beam later if you want, but you'd have to go back to its original location. Just keep that in mind. The wave beam travels in a wide, unpredictable wave pattern, allowing it to hit enemies through walls. By the time you get this item, you'll be able to crush nearly any enemy in your path. The high jump boots increases your jump height significantly. If you skipped the various suit earlier, you'd have to go back to Brinstar, but this time it'll be a lot easier since you normally need this power up to get it. The screw attack is one of the strongest attacks in Samus's arsenal. When you normal jump, Samus does a little spin, but when you jump with the screw attack, the jump is now an active hitbox that will obliterate almost any enemy or terrain that stands in your way. I don't think it's too strong in this game, but in future installments, it's low-key busted. No, fuck that, it's high-key busted. So after traversing through Norfair for a bit and getting all these power-ups alongside some more missile expansions, you'll soon make your way to another elevator leading to Ridley's lair. Ridley's lair isn't as big, but you need to traverse down here to find Ridley and defeat him. Just want to note something real quick. In this title, there's no right or wrong way to go about fighting these bosses. You can fight Kraid or Ridley in any order you want. It's entirely up to you. So, I'm gonna be completely honest, Ridley's lair is kinda boring. I'm not gonna lie, there's not really anything out here that sticks out to make it seem unique or anything like that. So we're just gonna fast forward straight to Ridley himself. So Ridley in this title is honestly a joke, at least compared to his other variants in later installments. All you have to do is dodge his fireballs to get a better shot to spam missiles at him. What helps is the fact that screw attack is invincible, so you can just jump easily through the fireballs and attack him directly. Seriously, missile spamming is the best thing you could do. Not much to add here, it's just a simple boss. Just find your opening and keep hitting him with either the wave beam or missile spamming. He packs some missiles, right? Overall, Ridley did leave a lasting impression, but I think he shines a lot more in later games, for sure. So now you just have to make your way all the way back to Brinstar and find a new elevator that leads to Kraid's lair. Just like Ridley's lair, Kraid's lair is nothing special, but the difficulty curve is definitely there. I mean, it's there for Ridley's, but y'all catch my drift. Once you navigate through, you'll eventually pull up to Kraid himself and you'll probably notice something's off about him. Kraid is tiny in this game, probably slightly taller than Samus, while in every other version, he's the size of a goddamn building. But size aside, he's definitely the tougher of the two bosses and a bit of a challenge first time facing him. His other variants can't relate. He'll launch spikes from his arms and chest while there are boomerang-like projectiles attacking you all simultaneously. So just stay mobile, watch out for the obstacles in the area, and rush Kraid down with a bunch of missiles. He's invincible while the spikes are on him, but once they are launched, that's your window to strike. It just takes some patience, but if you made it this far into the game, I'm sure you can beat him. Be sure to find whatever missiles and E-tanks you can along the way. Every little bit helps. And packs of missiles, right? You don't get anything for beating Kraid, so just go ahead and mosey on back to Brinstar. Once you get back to Brinstar, if you don't already have the Ice Beam, go ahead and grab that. Then go to this room located near the top of Brinstar. You'll see 2 statues now fully lit up and a bridge will be open leading you to an elevator. The elevator will take you to the final area of the game, Tourian. This area is no joke and is by far the toughest area in the game. It only has one set of enemies in here, those being the Metroids. These enemies latch onto you and immediately start draining your health. The only way to get them off is by bomb spamming in the morph ball form. But you gotta be quick because these things drain your life bars fast. I hope you took my advice to grab the Ice Beam prior because that's the only way to kill them. To kill these things you have to freeze them, then use 5 missiles just to kill one of these things. The rooms leading up to the final boss are flooded with Metroids, and in this title, they respawn, so be careful.
Boy, get your dumb ass out of here before you get jumped.
There's also Rinkers that will hit you from almost anywhere in these rooms, but they aren't outrageous here. Not yet, at least. I actually had no idea that's what they were called until now. So after persevering through, you now have to navigate the final room filled with these turrets and the Rinkers I mentioned earlier, except they are relentless in here. You gotta break through these walls that can only be broken by missiles while also dodging this obstacle course. This is a nightmare. After breaking through all the walls, you now come face to face with the final boss herself, Mother Brain. So she doesn't attack, but having to break through her glass then attack her directly with just missiles is already annoying enough. But having to navigate everything I just said on top of it? Yeah, this is pure raw hell of a final boss because of it. You packed some missiles, right? Everything essentially in Tourian can only die to missiles, meaning you better be stocked up when you enter this area. If you run out of missiles or die at all while you're down here, your ass is going back to this enemy regen spot just right before Tourian and grinding until you are nearly replenished, which doesn't sound too bad. Well, in this game, enemy drop rates are absolutely atrocious. There's a small chance when an enemy dies that it'll drop something. No joke when I say this. I died getting to Mother Brain because I got jumped by Metroids, and I had to spend almost 20 fucking minutes just mindlessly killing enemies and slowly replenishing my health and missiles. Also, after a short period, enemies stop dropping items entirely, so you gotta leave the room and then come back. This is one of the worst parts of the game and makes the final leg of the journey somehow feel like such a pace breaker. I hated doing this so damn much. You can take your chances and kill Metroid since they drop either 30 missiles or 30 health whenever you kill one, but remember, you gotta spend 5 missiles to kill a Metroid, and this thing can drain your health if you aren't careful, so it's a high risk, high reward situation. It's up to you how you go about handling the last part, but really keep this in mind because grinding in this title really is the absolute worst, and this is when it really hits its apex as far as how bad it gets. So after killing Mother Brain, you know the drill at this point. You gotta escape the planet within 5 minutes, but the platforming for y'all shouldn't be too bad, and with that, the game is over. Congratulations, you beat Metroid 1. You get a message at the end pretty much summarizing that the galaxy is surprisingly not at peace after doing all this. So, Metroid 1 is really rough around the edges. It's definitely a game I respect a lot more than I enjoy if I'm being honest. For 1986, this game was ambitious and it led to such a big franchise in the years to come, but this game is not worth going back to nowadays. I played this game for the first time just for this video, and yeah, I'm never playing it again. I did have some fun, but I think future installments did this formula, but a lot better. Last thing before I fully wrap, I'm going to rank each game on this tier list at the very end of each video, so for this title, it's going into D tier. If you made it to the end of the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to be dropping a new video covering each 2D Metroid title every week. Post-production Q here, so I know I said every week, but I was low-key cracked out of my mind for this. The videos will drop when they're ready because the pressure and burnout are kicking my ass way too much to do 7 of these videos, then drop them week by week. I know it's the end of the video, but I just had to quickly address this. Sorry about that. Next time, we'll be covering Metroid 2: The Return of Samus on the Game Boy. Thanks for watching.